I can remember even in high school, in taking electronic courses that I was taking, that the instructor would emphasize to some of the kids about going on to college. It was like I wasn't even there, you know. And then when I went into the service, I was stationed. The Air Force has this high tech school. It was in Biloxi, Mississippi. And I can remember, this was now, of course, back in the 60s before the civil rights. And I remember going off with some of my friends, and we couldn't go into, I couldn't go into the restaurants with them. They actually still had the signs then at that time that said whites only, you know, and the thing is that even within the scientific community, there was this Nobel Prize winner, was one of the co-inventors of the transistor. His name was Shockley. It's well known. In fact, there was a book called Broken Genius about him, who felt that African Americans were intrinsically intellectually inferior, essentially that I could not exist. So this is all the sort of thing that I had to deal with in the background. But you know, I'm one of these people that feel that the best sort of revenge is success. You know, is to, you know, not to say, you know, not to actually be negative with the person, but to be positive and show that you can succeed in doing this and doing whatever it is you want to do. And that helps inspire kids whenever I'm going to schools, because I've actually been asked to go into minority, you know, schools, is to let them realize that whatever it is that they can achieve, want to achieve, they can achieve. But yeah, it was difficult at times. It was, but you know, I insulated myself from that. For example, in service, when that happened the very first time, I decided I was never going to go out on the base again, which meant I had zero social life. But the way in which I compensated for that was I studied on my own, which helped me in a positive way. And you might say that part of the reason why I didn't mention the time was not only because the idea was crazy, but also I knew that I was at risk as being an African-American physicist, okay? So that put me at double risk. And so I was hyper cautious. In fact, my colleagues, if they would have actually, if you would have asked them at the time, they would have actually said, oh, gee, Ron Mallett's pretty conservative, you know, physicist, you know, he's not, you know, but that's because of the fact that it was in reaction to, you know, and I don't mean, when I say conservative, I don't mean politically. I'm very non-conservative that way. But I mean, as far as my science was concerned, was to actually be cautious because of that problem that I was dealing with on two fronts.